All right, and we are back with Mr. Asante Black. So Asante, you were talking to us about, how it's been obviously serving to your advantage to kind of, have your auntie Samira Wiley in Hollywood, who kind of had that connection with her, kind of kind of helping you explore and navigate your way through, especially with just moving to LA. But I want to talk to you about training. So you said that you started acting when you were in second grade. You were acting consistently from second to fourth grade, then took a break. What skills have you used to improve your craft, and what are you doing to work on your craft as an actor? And what advice would you give to other young men who might want to become an actor?
When I first decided that I wanted to really take acting seriously, that was like freshman year. And I just decided, I was like, hey, I see that this can be a thing. I see that, I can get to a certain level. I just don't know. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know if I'm going to have 10 years in the industry and where I'm just doing small roles and things like that and finally get a break, or who knows if I'll ever get a break. But I know that I love doing this one thing, so I'm going to put my all into it. And what that looked like was, you could ask my parents too, but when I and thinking about it, like, I had at the time, I had like a job at the barber shop where I was getting paid like $7 an hour, and it was working 3 times a week, so I wasn't making no money, but all the money that I did make, I was allotting all of that back into what I wanted to do. I keep looking over here because there's a bunch of books on my shelf right now, that are acting books and that I've read over and over and over again. There's just so many resources. Another thing would be just going on YouTube. Going on YouTube and looking up tips for actors. You can find there, surprisingly, you can find so many clips of outstanding actors that we all look up to talking about acting and learn so much from them. And it's all just available on the internet, And then even outside of that, everybody got Netflix,
Right.
When I watch movies, and I say this all the time, people think I'm crazy, but when I watch movies and I know it's guaranteed to be a great performance in it, I will take notes on the movie. I'll take notes on an actor's performance, and I will say, hey, what was it that made that look so scary, or what was it that made that delivery so magnificent? It's really about, because to me, acting is so much more than just acting. There's a science to it. And when you figure out and you understand what that science is, and it's also, when I say it's a science to it, because science is a very meticulous thing, it's also no correct way to go about it. None at all. There are so many different ways.
Take the concept of like going to a Juilliard or going to a Yale, or one of those institutions who have really great educational systems for an actor. Do you think that those are necessary, or do you, like you said, or do you think that there's different approaches to the science of acting that work for different people?
I think that it depends on the person, because a lot of people work better, in more structured environments, and learning from people that have experienced it rather than being self-taught. But I wouldn't say, I'd say that I don't necessarily think that establishments like that are necessary for somebody like me, who is like, for me, and it's not even to kind of brag or anything, but it's just, for me, it's easy to kind of, once you really get into it, kind of dissect these performances and just understand everything behind the material. But also, like, when I say that I don't think it would be necessary for me, that's not to say that I wouldn't do it, because at the end of the day, we can always learn so much more than we already know, So even though all of the things that I've gotten from what I've done, reading these books, watching these movies, looking at these YouTube videos, if I could go to Juilliard and still work on This Is Us, I would do it in a heartbeat, because I want to consistently keep improving upon my craft. It's like that with your characters too. You never you never want to completely understand your character. You want to get to a point where you can think like them and you can understand certain things that they would do. But when you think about it, to completely understand somebody, we as human beings don't even completely understand ourselves.
Wow.
So why do you think that you have to have every single thing figured out when it comes to this character, you know. No, it's you have your basis, you have their background, you have who they are as a person, you have the things that they like to do, you have what they've been through, what their aspirations are, and you use all of that to build this character and to build how they say things, how they move, how they look, their mannerisms, all of these things. But you never completely understand every single thing about them. If you do understand everything about your character, then you're probably doing it wrong.
Well, speaking of your characters, we have a clip of one of your auditions.
Okay.
So let's watch that clip, and then we're going to come back.
Awesome. No.
Whoa, CA. Whoa, buddy. Kevin, listen. What did you do to the lady?
I didn't do nothing to no lady, man.
Antron and Raymond said they saw you.
Look, I don't know them. They lying on me. I ain't do nothing to no lady.
Then how'd your skin get under her finger, Kevin?
What? Nah, that can't be.
They tested it. It's your DNA.
What's DNA?
Kevin Richardson is the reason how I found out about you. But looking at your tape for that, it's just gives me goosebumps. It literally gives me chills. Talk to me about Mr. Kevin Richardson, Ava DuVernay, When They See Us, how, ended up Emmy nominee, double nominee for the Critics' Choice Awards. What?
I don't even get it. I don't understand it myself. No, it's crazy. That audition was the last. I was actually, when you asked me to send you that video, I was considering like sending you every single audition that I did, because there were so many. But that was the last one that I had done, because when I auditioned for When They See Us, firstly, I was auditioning for Corey Wise, young Corey Wise, who Jarrell Jerome.
Really? So you auditioned for Corey's part? Okay, Corey Wise. Okay.
I did, yeah. So, and I was looking at that one last night too, and it's interesting because it's like two completely different characters that I was doing. But yeah, so it was at that point when I was auditioning for Corey Wise the entirety of my audition process. It was the first audition was Corey Wise in New York. The second audition was Corey Wise with Ava on Skype. The third audition was Corey Wise with Ava in LA. The fourth audition was Corey Wise again, a self-tape. And then finally, I had spent so much time with this character and I was kind of getting to understand. I was like, okay, I think that I'm really getting somewhere. And then my agent emails me like, hey, so they casted Corey, but they want to have you read for Kevin. And so I was like, okay.
And they ended up, Corey is the character who is the same from throughout the entire, so Ava ended up changing, I guess, the direction of that character, because that's a character that's the same as an adult.
Exactly. She was literally saying she was debating whether they would make Corey be played by a young actor and an older actor like everyone else, or they would make him be played by the same actor. And obviously chose Jarrell Jerome, who did a magnificent job doing that. I wouldn't want anybody. I mean, I'm glad they gave him the role. Forget about me, but So Kevin Richardson was the final audition. They had told me they wanted me to send in a tape for Kevin, and at this point, I'd auditioned. It was about 4 months since my first audition. A really long time, and I was like, okay, this seems like it's the home stretch. Obviously, I've been doing something right to get to this moment. So I called up my friend Christian, who you hear in the background reading alongside with me. Went to his house. We recorded down there. And I was just like, listen, I'm going to do this until it is the best thing that I have ever put out. And I'm going to make sure that it's the best audition I've ever done. And I did that. And then 2 weeks later, Ava, it was crazy. 2 weeks later, Ava called me from her personal phone while I was sitting on the couch watching Netflix. It was summer break, and I get a call from LA, and I'm like, who is calling me from LA? Because I'm in Maryland at the time.
Right.
And I'm like, you know what? I might as well just answer.
But up until that point, did you not kind of think, because you told me that you had been manifesting. So when you saw that LA number come over, you like, oh, this might be Ava on the other line.
No, I was manifesting a lot. It was crazy when I had caught a couple of callbacks for Corey's part. I put up a poster in my room that said, I am Corey Wise, I am Corey Wise. I even went as far as changing my computer background to a picture of young Corey. You know, it was consistent reinforcements, and in my mind, you know, even though I didn't end up playing Corey, just consistent reinforcements like, okay, I am going to do this. I am going to do this. I'm going to do this. And then when, you know, they told me about, they wanted me to audition for Kevin, immediately ripped that one down, put up, I am Kevin Richardson. Immediately.
Edit that real quick. Okay, we good. We good.
Yeah, but and it was crazy because like I was doing these manifestations, but it wasn't just me putting this out into the universe. It was almost as if me and the like, this is gonna sound so spiritual, but it was almost as if like me and the universe were having a conversation almost, because there were so many times when it was just confirmed that, you know, I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. Like, I remember I was watching, or I think me and my family, we were going somewhere. My mom was watching this video in the car. It was of Oprah, you know, doing, she was giving some sort of speech, and we had no idea she brought out Ava on the stage, you know? And then at this point we were like, okay, yeah, Ava and Oprah are working on When They See Us Together. That's kind of like, it's interesting that, you know, we're watching this and we just did this thing. Remember, we were driving down the road. We were going somewhere that we haven't been before. We see a billboard up. It says Central Park. I'm like,
Oh, wow. I love what Oprah says. Oprah has this comment that she says, life is always talking to you. So if you're
you just have to pay attention.
Yeah, life is always talking to you.
Yeah, so I really feel like that. Like that's the biggest example of manifestation that I can give. You know, I really feel like, you know, I spoke to the universe, they heard me, they spoke back, and we're like, all right, we got this for you. It's gonna take a little while, you know, 4 or 5 months until I actually, from my first audition to when we started filming, but you know, we got you. It's done. You did what you had to do, so we're gonna do what we have to do.
If you can take me back, your last day of filming for When They See Us.
Oh man. My parents have a video actually of my last scene that I did, and the last scene that I did actually wasn't, they cut it out of the series, but the last scene that I did, it was so emotional because my aunt was there, she came on set in New York, my mom was there, Kevin was there, Kevin Richardson, Angie Richardson, Kevin's sister, and Kylie Bunbury, who played Angie. So we were all there, and it was our last scene. And, you know, as soon as Ava goes, ladies and gentlemen, that is a wrap on Stanciu Black. It's the waterworks came, man. I just started crying. Ava comes and gives me a big hug, and all I hear her say is, wait till you see what he did. Wait till you see. And that's a scary thing to hear, man. It's like, you know, because it's my first ever project. I don't even, I hear people saying to me like, oh, you're so good, you're so good, you're so good. But like, I don't have anything to go off of, you know. I'm just putting out my work. So that's a scary thing to hear. But you know, I think that the last day of filming, that kind of just reinforces how much love was on that set.
Could you send me a list of some of your favorite actors, some of your favorite actresses, some of your favorite films? So I want to ask you now, and I kind of picked one from each list. Okay. What did you learn from the film Waves?
I think that movie resonated with me so much because we've seen portrayals of Blackness in media and in film and TV, and it's you know, in the past it's almost been just one portrayal of Blackness, you know, as if Black people were a monolith, as if we don't have so many different ranges of who we are. And the fact that this movie right here was about a Black family, but it wasn't rooted in their oppression, you know? It's not about a Black family struggling because they're Black, you know? It's about a middle-class Black family who's well off on their own. And it's, you know, the events that happen and transpire in the movie could happen to any family, you know? Anybody. And that's what I think that was what spoke to me so much, because yes, we've been seeing so many different positive representations of Black people in media recently, but you know, me growing up and me being, you know, 10, 11, 12, 13, you know, kind of sort of wanted to be in acting but not really knowing yet. I didn't have any of that, you know. I didn't have any representations of Blackness that reflected what I saw in my household every day, you know. I didn't have any Black families where it's a 2-parent household and siblings as well, and you know, they're just out there living their life like I saw my family doing. So while I do think that it's so important that we have these experiences told, because you know, we can't ignore what we've been through, and we can't ignore the problems that are in our community. But I think that we can explore that in such such a wider range of movies. When I saw that movie, and I don't think I've ever experienced it like I did with that movie, but I truly felt seen with that movie. People say that all the time. Oh, I feel seen with this tweet. I feel seen with this video. You know, people say it all the time, but I truly felt seen with that movie because I could look into that family and see different parts of my family. So it was beautiful. Yeah.